Hey y'all, Mr. Up here. Just want to do a quick review on Maria. Overall, not a huge fan of the art. The goth death look doesn't do it for me, but she's a really good character. She has quite a few great skills that can help your team. If you want to build a really strong team that can challenge pretty much any other team out there, you can try Maria and Yuna in either order, either Yuna and Maria or Maria and Yuna in the front row. Then Gilga, Archimeus, and Mythia. If you don't have Archimeus, then you can use Terra. If you don't have Terra, then you can use Excessium or Ra. But if you really want to get some synergy based on her Endless Nightmare skill, so if you constantly feed her Endless Nightmare skill, then she can continue to cast Ultimate Pursuit, which is basically AoE damage. But you can put her and Yuna in the front row, and you can have Alzaria, Wajetta, and Mythia in the back. Mythia will constantly speed up and make them cast their skills. So you have Alzaria and Wajetta that are feeding that Endless Nightmare because they have Disarray and Fear. I'll talk a little bit about that here in a bit. But with her being in the front row with Yuna, that'll also make her invincible with Yuna's T2. So pretty nice there. And then actually Yuna, Maria, Alzaria, Archimeus, and Wajetta will be a good combo. So then you can use Mythia in another strong team if you're like in Colosseum or something. But if you're looking to use her with a full Devaic team, maybe Arzal, Ashfur, Vivian, Maria, and Zathra. And what's really cool is if you focus on the personal agility ability and seasonal, and you use Maria and Gilga and Ra, that's 3 Rangers, so basically agility heroes. So you're basically making a strong team there, and you have Yuna, Mythia. That's pretty strong team. And then also in Colosseum, you can move all your CH into a Ranger and support if you have enough. Then you can spare some in for a Warrior if you have plenty of it. But with Yuna's invulnerability, providing that to the front row with T2, you shouldn't really need it. So you can dump everything into CH, all the CH into Ranger and support, if you want to dump it into Mage, you can do that too. But let's take a look at the SG. So SG, she requires very little investment as far as the SG is concerned. The damage dealt to energy recovery rate of enemies in frightened status are reduced to 25, and she really starts becoming super useful as a debuffer at HG 10, reducing the energy recovery rate by 40%. And then you can see it just gets better the higher you go. I don't typically pass 30 anymore with the new game because really only the skills translate to the new seasonal. The attributes don't themselves, so it's kind of just a big fat waste of money and time and effort. So I don't really do that much anymore. But most of my characters are max, so if I have nothing else to spend them on, then I'll buff them up. But let's take a look at the talents here. So for T1, she has initial madness layer set to 1, so she has 1 layer. And then subsequent gains of madness during the battle increase attack by 5%, up to a maximum of 15 layers lasting an entire match. So that's cool. But if you look at T2, the initial layer is increased to 5. So if you go back, 5 times 5, that's 25% attack right off the bat when she has T2. So that's nice. And then when an ally, including summons, is defeated, 1 layer of attack bonus is gained to a maximum of 25 layers. So the way I'm reading that is if every time somebody dies, you get another 5%, right? Which is that 5% attack. So pretty decent. Let's go back and take a look at Breakthrough. So Breakthrough, I usually start out hitting like the attacks and all that. But anyway, you fill out the crystals, but if you want to look at her actual skills, the Endless Nightmare here, when madness is gained in battle, 270% attack damage is dealt to units in a frightened status, and that's for the initial when you hit level 30, and then when you hit 60, you can tell the cooldown for that is reduced to 7 seconds, and then you get some crit boost modifiers here as well. So overall, not like super awesome, but decent here. Let's take a look at her ultimate skill. So her ultimate is pretty nasty. At max, enemy AGI and dodge is reduced 150 points, and 5 phantoms are summoned to assassinate enemies inside her barrier. With each assassin dealing double damage or double 380% attack damage per target. She triggers Ultimate Pursuit, which is basically AoE. If she has Madness Layers, if not, she'll gain a Madness Layer. Okay, so pretty decent. We'll talk about Endless Nightmare here. That's a passive skill. It casts Frightened State on the enemy for an entire duration, and when the Ultimate Pursuit is cast, they are terrified for 1.5 seconds, and she gains a Madness Layer when the enemy is stunned, terrified, disarray, or defeated. So that's where, you have like Alzaria, because she has all those, 6 or so, skeleton warriors, and every time they die, it's adding. Every time, she casts Disarray, it's adding. Anytime, someone's defeated, it's adding, or stunned or terrified, so Wajeda would add that in. So that's why I recommended that team. Then the Frightened status will transfer to another enemy hero when that one dies. And then at level 4, Madness is gained when Madness layer is gained. It'll be 270 attack damage dealt to those that are in that frightened state. So overall, pretty decent. For Phantom Strike, Maria instantly gained Madness Layer up to 5 max, which is cool. Her Phantom ambush. Her Phantoms ambush the weakest enemy, dealing 400% attack damage. If 2 Madness Layers are present, she'll consume them both to trigger Ultimate Pursuit, and then she does 280% AoE damage. At level 2, when the Ultimate Pursuit is cast, damage goes to 390% and 30% increase in area coverage. And when Madness Layers are max, she consumes 2 layers to cast Ultimate Pursuit with a regular attack. So this is why you really want to try to keep her fed with max Madness Layers, so she could just level 390% AoE all the time with a huge area. And so if you have like Wajeda and Alzaria, somebody that can fear and somebody that has a lot of phantoms, I think that would help. So I might actually try a team with, say, like her and Yuna in the front row, and then in the back row, everybody that has phantoms, right? Like you think about Kelchar, Alzaria, and then Puith maybe. So that might be a decent team. I'll have to try that out. But let's go ahead and try Mirror Image. So Mirror Image is the last one here. It's passive. When taking damage exceeding 10%, it's neutralized and she becomes invulnerable, so that's a really awesome skill. Leaving a mirror image continuously stunning nearby enemies. After 4 hits or 3 seconds, it explodes, causing 390% attack damage and knocking back nearby enemies. Each Madness Layer increases mirror damage explosion and vanishment recovery rate. So at breakthrough 4, cooldown reduces this to 7 seconds. And so we kind of went over that. So that's why it's really important if we keep those Madness Layers max. You want to complement her with heroes that help keep her Madness Layers as high as possible. Okay, and so for crowns, I'd probably use Blasphemy or Fiery Swords on her. If she's in the front row with Yuna, I'd probably just do Blasphemy Swords or Blasphemy Crowns. That way, if Yuna doesn't get the T2 off in time, she has invulnerability until they get into that loop where he can continue, or she can continuously protect Maria. And so overall, I think she's a great hero, right? I mean, I would choose her over many of the other Devaic any day. I'd say, she's on par with Vivian. And so, that's kind of my 2 cents about her. I keep crowns on her, Blasphemy Crowns, right? Because I usually use her in the front. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. Let me know what you think. Have fun out there playing a game. Good luck.